Am I the idiot for moving after winning full custody of my sons? My wife and I got a divorce last year. Our relationship failed after she was charged with felony credit card fraud and ended up pleading guilty to a lesser charge. She had been a stay-at-home mom to our 2 sons, 5 and 3, and had taken credit cards out in my mom's name to pay for God knows what. She shattered my trust. I work full-time and make a decent living, but nothing extravagant. I had no clue what my wife was doing until cops showed up at my door with a warrant and took my wife away in cuffs and took 2 laptops as evidence. When I got the full story, I filed for divorce immediately. Aside from being a criminal, she was a good mom. She tried to justify what she did by saying she was just doing what was best for our kids, which I felt was total BS given that she never mentioned wanting for anything, and any time she asked to spend on something I almost always said yes. I hired a good lawyer and asked for full custody of my kids. My ex begged me not to do that, saying she needed her kids, but she was still looking at up to a year in jail, and nothing her lawyer said could sway the judge to grant her anything more than supervised visitation. She ended up doing 90 days in jail, paying some fines and restitution, but I've allowed her to see our sons almost every time she's asked. The last year has been total hell, but we've made it work. A few months ago, I was offered a much more lucrative position a few states away. I talked with my lawyer about what it would mean if I moved and what the process was. He said that since I have full custody, I have to file a petition with the court to move. So I told my wife what I wanted to do and she exploded. She claimed I was stealing her kids from her, that she's made a lot of strides to get herself to a better place, and that she would fight me tooth and nail for her kids. Well, I filed the petition, got the go-ahead from the courts, and accepted the job. When the judge gave his ruling, my wife burst into tears and began sobbing. It was heartbreaking. I know in my head that I'm doing the right thing for my sons. They are young enough that a move like this won't be too traumatic, but I also feel like their lives have already been completely overturned and I'm just adding more to that. As for my wife, she's a wreck. She's been begging me to reconsider the move, trying everything from guilt trips, manipulation, bargaining. It's like she's going through the stages of grief. But from my point of view, she did this to herself. She lied and broke the law. I have very little sympathy for her. I know at some point she will probably try to file for partial custody, and I'm prepared for that. For now, I'm just trying to do what's best for me and my sons. Does that make me an idiot? Edit. Thank you to everyone who commented, even the ones who called me a heartless AH for taking my sons away from their mother. This post has given me a lot of perspective, and I appreciate that. A couple things I want to clear up that I keep getting asked about that I wasn't able to include in my original post. 1. The area my sons and I live in is a smaller community. Not everyone knows everyone. Small, but close. The crime my ex committed was news here. It was in the paper. People know about it. I get weird looks when I'm out in public. People have stopped inviting my sons to birthday parties. I don't want my sons to be bullied and teased in school about their mother being a criminal. 2. I am not going to permanently alienate my sons from their mother. I will make sure they are able to talk and FaceTime with her whenever they want. I will be the one who makes the drive back in order for them to see her until she is able to make arrangements to allow her to do so. I will continue to work with my ex to make sure she is included in things like birthdays and holidays. 3. I know my sons and I will all need therapy from this. There is not good mental health help available where my previous job was. My new job offers on-site childcare, and I will have access to counseling and therapy for myself and my sons that we would not have access to without moving. The schools near my new job are head and shoulders above the ones near my previous job. 4. If my ex gets her life back on track and is able to move closer to us, I'm all for it. If she does the things she needs to do in order to petition for shared custody, I don't intend on fighting her for that, but until she does that, I will not allow her anything more than the supervised visits ruled by the court. I will also not ask for any of the court-ordered child support. We won't need it. 5. To all the people who screamed, "But she's their mother!" Yes, and she always will be. And I remind my sons daily that their mom loves them very much and that she wishes she can be with them like before. I am angry and resentful of my wife, but I work very, very hard to not let any of those feelings impact my sons and their relationship with their mom. Now for a few comments before the update. This is tough. The divorce and getting full custody? Fully deserved. Not the idiot on that account. Moving to another part of the country where she'll have no contact with them? I'm not so sold on this. I think that you're still in pain and resent her, and rightfully so, but I'm not sure this is the best you can do regarding your children's relationship with their mother. Does she have any possibility of getting a job? Of moving? Or is she a financial mess as well, and what are her living conditions like now? Have you gone to therapy? Let me be clear, she did what she did and she's been held accountable for it. You've got a right to move from a legal perspective. But moving, when you know she can't do the same, will massively screw her relationship with your children, and it will only lead to more anger, resentment, and pain. The original poster responded with, I don't know her full financial situation. I know she's working a couple part-time jobs and has a small 2-BR apartment. Whether or not she could move, I don't know. She's under probation, so she'd need to apply to move anyway. My new job pays over twice what my previous job did. It's a huge opportunity for me to provide a better life for my sons. I don't want to sit around here and wait for my ex to get her poop together. Comment 2. Y'all know this begging for a gender reverse situation. Holy poop, people are actually calling him the idiot. Hope he is. Not the idiot. Please, all you moms out there need to let go of your biases. Now for the update. I got a lot of people asking for an update on this situation, and since a few things have changed, I figured I would go for it. I did end up taking the new job and moved with my sons. We have been settling into our new lives quite nicely over the last month, and things have been going really well. My sons love the new house. They have made friends with some other kids their age in the neighborhood. My job has been going really well, and I really couldn't have hoped for things to go better than they have. I got both of my sons into a great therapy program, and the three of us have also been doing counseling sessions together. My boys have been adjusting amazingly well, and I'm so happy and proud of how they've handled this. We've also made 2 trips back to see their mother, since she is still in the process of figuring out what she will be allowed to do in relation to her probation. We've also been doing many video calls a week with her. My sons still don't understand why their mom isn't here with us, but they do seem to grasp that this is going to be their new normal. In comparison with how well myself and my sons are adjusting, my ex is the complete opposite. She is still very angry with me and thinks I'm a complete a-hole. She's frustrated with the process of going through the courts to be allowed to move. She's frustrated that I'm not willing to drive our sons back to see her as often as she'd like. She feels she's being marginalized in their lives and that I am pulling them away from her. When she was complaining about all of this during our last visit, I reminded her that all of those things are consequences of her own actions, and she blew up at me by saying I am kicking her when she's already down, and I didn't need to take her sons away from her. I told her how well our sons are doing and how happy they are, and she should be proud of how strong and resilient they've been. She then started begging me to please move back so that she can be closer, because she's not sure the courts will allow her to move and the process is taking too long. I told her that wasn't going to happen, but if there is anything I can do with the court process, that I would be willing to help if I can. I reminded her that I haven't said anything about her not paying the court-ordered child support, but that our boys seem to be in a much better place already, and I'm not going to take that away from them. Every time we have a video call with her, as soon as she says goodbye to our son, she starts asking me to consider moving back home. I tell her every time that it is not happening. I'm not a robot, and I do feel bad to see her so desperate and distraught. But when I look at my sons playing and laughing with their new friends, I know I've done the right thing no matter the cost. To my ex, comment 1. You have to stop justifying yourself to her, man. I get it. She's your former partner, the mother of your kids, and she deserves a chance to redeem herself and be a part of her kids' lives. But she's taking no responsibility for her own actions. She hasn't shown a single consideration for what might be best for you or the children. She's only sorry for putting herself in an undesirable situation. Every time you engage her in this, you're giving her more opportunities to guilt-trip you and convince you to make an emotion-based decision that might not actually be what's objectively best for you and the kids. At this point, there's nothing you can say to make her see the light. She has to figure it out for herself. Stop entertaining these conversations with her. They accomplish nothing except leaving you feeling guilty and emotionally distraught. Comment 2. I think you also need to insist she get therapy. Perhaps tell her if she continues to beg and plead for you to move, calls will be reduced as a consequence. I think you've bent over backwards to help her, and she just doesn't want to take responsibility. She needs consequences. Am I the idiot for telling my mom that I can't and won't help her rebuild a relationship with her son? I, female 35, was raised in a family that honestly is pretty messed up. Reputation and wealth always comes first for everyone, and perfection is the only answer. I'm not even joking, lol. I have a brother, Oliver 19M. Everyone adored him, and he was definitely favored growing up, but he's been through some poop that caused him to act out a lot. My mom had enough of his behavior and kicked him out when he was 16. He's been staying with me for the past 3 years. While living with me, he managed to get his act together as I put him in therapy to help him, and I kind of realized that the whole perfection thing my family drilled into our brains is kind of what was causing him to deteriorate so much. He goes to a good university, is in a sports team, and even has a part-time job. His mental health is still a work in progress, and he does have bad days, but we're working on it. I'm proud of him in all honesty. Anyways, my parents were aware that Oliver was with me but only contacted him a couple times in the past years. I would say I get it because of how stressful it's been, but I don't. That's your son, for fuck's sake. Well, a few months ago, my parents decided to divorce, which was good for them. Should have happened years ago, but whatever. Ever since, my mom has been trying to convince me to let her talk to / hang out with Oliver. This extreme switch up isn't good for him as he relies on stability a lot, and I told this to her. She started crying when I did and said that she's his mother. I kind of rolled my eyes and said something like, "What a great mom," sarcastically, and she cried even harder. She said she was sorry for kicking him out, but she just didn't know how to deal with a problem child anymore. It wasn't her fault, etc. I didn't think she was really getting my point as I'm more annoyed by the whole perfection bullshit she never shut up about, even though I have problems with that, but I let her rant. Then I told her straight up that I wouldn't and couldn't help her with Oliver until he said he was ready, even then if I'd encourage him, and that she needs to live with her decisions. She practically called me an idiot, and said she was his mom not me, but I just ignored her. It's been a while now and I haven't heard from her, and I feel a little guilty. What right do I have to keep a mom away from her precious son is kind of what's been going on in my head. It's what she said as well. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. She kicked him out when he was a minor. What the hell? And it's very likely that, even if she has good intentions, she will take out the current crisis she is going through in her life on her son. And or use him as an emotional support pillar when he is still trying to rebuild his mental health. Also, can she not contact him herself? Why is she putting you in the middle? Comment 2, not the idiot. You keep protecting Oliver. She is not sorry if she can't even admit what she did wrong and is still calling him a problem child. She is getting a divorce and not looking to rebuild a bond. She is looking to displace her emotions and for something to cling onto. She needs to take time to herself, go get counseling, and honestly, if y'all let her back in her first visits with him, need to be in a family counseling office with a therapist who will tell her what's what and not let her run him over. Now for the update. Okay, so I'm just going to get right to it. After all of your reassurances that I was doing the right thing, which I was really doubting, I called my mother and told her that my decision is final and she is not allowed to contact my brother until and unless his therapist is okay with it. She cried her heart out, and it almost made me sad, but I can't bring myself to feel bad for her anymore. I'm just so tired of her. She messages me twice a day still, but I haven't replied to a single text. I would tell her to frick off, but I'm dealing with unrelated family issues, so I can't do that right now. As for Oliver, the last week has been a bit of a struggle. Nothing super related to my mother, but that's the thing with mental health. Even the slightest thing can be a trigger. But we're working on it. Like I said in my last post, stability is the main thing that's helping him. It's why having our mom visit would be a very bad idea. She'd turn his world upside down very quickly and throw him off our schedule. Due to circumstances, he's still in the early stages of recovery and is still not mentally/emotionally ready to meet our mom, who is a huge trigger. I don't think I mentioned my daughter, but she's currently watching Frozen while I'm writing this, and the only thing on my mind is, do you want to build a snowman? So I'm sorry if I'm not wording this properly. But yeah, I know for many the answer may have seemed obvious, but sometimes I feel as if I'm overstepping because although I love my brother, I'm not his mom. Might as well be, but that's a whole other thing. One more final thing I wanted to add. Why am I making decisions for him? He's an adult, right? Yes, technically, but because of his mental health problems, he does not have the same grown mindset as others his age. It's one of the reasons he's in therapy. Anyways, to the people DMing me for an update. Nothing much happened, but I assure you, Oliver is my top priority right now. Thanks for worrying about him though. Comment 1. Just reading the original, she lost her right to be his mother when she chose kicking him out because I didn't know how to handle a problem child. Over actively trying to figure out what she can do to help. You may not be his mom, but at least you took responsibility and didn't give up on him. Comment 2. You're doing the right thing, and I hope your mom doesn't come up with the idea to have a surprise visit at your home. Not sure if she knows where you live or not, particularly with your current family issues and Oliver still needing continuous stability and therapy. If she still insists that Oliver is a problem child, she may still treat him like one. Now, for the next story.